In writing a while back about the beloved Disney comic book artist Carl Barks, I mentioned that Barks drew a few editorial cartoons for a former Hemet neighbor who had relocated to Rancho Palos Verdes and was fighting with City Hall over a helipad he wanted to build. This prompted a message from reader Doug Evans. Wrote Doug, "Hokey smoke, I have some of those Carl Barks helicopter cartoons you mention in today's column." Yes, he really talks like that. And yes, he owns the original pen and ink illustrations of some of those obscure cartoons, and a couple of other Barks rarities too. Doug, who lives in Chino Hills, isn't a Barks collector. He just happens to own these items. Doug knew of Barks, who died in 2000 at age 99, but hadn't understood how the unusual helicopter cartoons fit into the artist's story until my column. Coincidentally, Doug is a good friend, and here he is providing me with column material, which I guess is what friends do. We got together over lunch in Chino Hills to catch up, look at the drawings and discuss how he got them. To refresh your memory, from 1942 to 1966 Barks wrote and drew comic book stories featuring Donald Duck, his nephews Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and Donald's uncle Scrooge, a character Barks created, that were read by millions of children. And he did all this while living in Hemet and San Jacinto. He owned a chicken ranch, but he made his living from ducks. Although his work was uncredited, as was the Disney custom, discerning children could tell Barks' stories apart for their quality. It was only in retirement that Barks' name became known and his stories were collected in lavish reprint editions with his name as a selling point. In fact, to mark November's 75th anniversary of the first Scrooge story, Fantagraphics published a 384-page, $100 hardcover titled Walt Disney's Uncle Scrooge, The Diamond Jubilee Collection. Okay, back to Hemet and San Jacinto, and why did we ever leave? In the 1940s Barks got to know a neighbor in San Jacinto, industrialist Shelley Stoody, who had bought a 1,500 ranch there. Stoody had a nice house in Whittier, then traded up to Hacienda Heights, Palos Verdes Estates, Balboa Island and Carbon Canyon as his wealth grew, according to a history column by Paul Spitzzeri in the Chino Valley Champion.